guys, today let's talk about the fourth federal level stimulus checks to everybody in the nation. An article says that 63% of Americans support the idea of new stimulus checks to combat hot inflation, and there are states that are stepping up to offer relief as well. High inflation, rising interest rates, and labor shortages have many experts and economists concerned about a looming recession. With all this uncertainty, what is clear is that American households are struggling and could use some extra support right now. A recent poll done by Newsweek shows that 63% of Americans support a new round of stimulus checks from the federal government to combat inflation. In other words, sending out fourth federal level checks to everybody in the nation. However, lawmakers in Washington have given no indication that they plan to pass the fourth round of stimulus checks, and some analysts argue it will only aggravate the issue. So they are saying, through the process of traditional legislation at this time, there's nothing that's making traction in Congress. And a lot of people are saying, if we send out more spending, it's going to be causing more inflationary issues. Handing out dollars in an inflationary environment will only make matters worse by driving prices up even further. Their states, cities, and counties are sending out stimulus checks, and that is due to surplus excess funds, which also is what could happen on a federal level. We are still in a state of emergency announced by the president until January 2020, so they still have access to these funds. Congress currently has no legislation that they are pushing forward, so an executive action by the president could probably be at this time the most likely scenario in which a fourth federal level stimulus checks of $2,000 could go out. Now, we are hearing that the top pressure for a stimulus check is coming from the economy. We are entering a recession. An article that is coming out this month mentioned there are states, cities, and counties that are sending out checks as well. Americans may score up to $2,000 with a Go Package bonus rebate. Full list of each city payment. Residents in the city of Tallahassee can score up to 10 different natural gas rebates. The Florida city is incentivizing the switch to natural gas in order to reduce electric power demand by offering checks of up to $50,000 to $2,000. The city will even connect gas from streets to houses for no extra charge. So there is a gold package bonus where you can get $2,000. This rebate applies to first-time installations of a water heater furnace, either a gas range or a dryer. The $425 gold package bonus brings the total rebate to $2,000. Over 30 states, but also cities and counties that are sending out stimulus checks and have a variety of different programs. Here's the list. Alaska. People in Alaska is getting $650 to deal with rising energy prices in the permanent fund, which the state sends out every year. In total, eligible Alaskans are getting $3,284 from the state. Checks start going out in September. California, at the end of June, Governor Gavin Newsom took to Twitter to announce rebates. Millions of Californians are getting a rebate check of up to $1,050 to help offset the high cost of gas and other goods known as the middle class tax rebate. Single people making under $75,000 will get $350, and married couples making under $150,000 will get $700. If a couple has a dependent, that means they get an extra $350, which could total $150. Coloradans got $750 cash back this summer to help with the rising cost of gas, groceries, and other items. The checks were delivered by mail in August and September to anyone who filed their tax returns by the end of May 2020. About 3 million people should get the check, but if you got an extension on your taxes, you should get your check by January 31st, 2023. Delaware. A relief rebate program was signed in Delaware in April. is a one-time payment of $300 per adult to help with the high cost of groceries and gas. Checks should have been delivered by the end of May to people who filed their 2020 and 2021 taxes. If you waited to file your taxes or missed your payment, you now have until the end of November to claim your check online. Florida. Families in Florida are getting a one-time payment of $450 per child for those eligible. That includes foster parents, caregivers, and families that are receiving money from the Florida Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program. Florida First Lady Casey DeSantis made the announcement in July. Nearly 60,000 families are expected to get the funds. If you didn't get yours, the government suggests giving the Florida Department of Children and Families a call. Georgia. People in Georgia are eligible for a rebate on their 2020 and 2021 taxes thanks to a revenue surplus. Bill 1302 was signed into law in March. Married couples can get up to $500 back if they file jointly. Single filers can get up to $250, while people who file at head of household can get a maximum of $375. Hawaii. The state government in Hawaii passed a bill giving tax filers a rebate of $300 if they make below $100,000 and $100 for filers who earn above that threshold. Direct deposits started going out in September, and anyone who requested a paper check should have received that by the end of October. Idaho. People in Idaho should expect an email notifying them of their rebate. Full-time residents who file taxes in 2020-2021 are eligible. The government is using two ways to calculate the amount: $75 or 12% of your 2020 Idaho state taxes, whichever is greater. The Tax Commission says it will issue about 25,000 payments weekly, which can be expected through direct deposit of the mail. And in September, Idaho lawmakers approved another rebate for those who'd filed their 2020 state tax returns. Individual filers can expect to get $300, while couples will receive $600. The government began processing these payments in September and will be sending them out in batches over the rest of the year and into 2023. Illinois. In Illinois, direct rebate checks have been given to working families. Relief checks of $50 for individuals and $100 per dependent for up to 3 children per family will be sent out at a cost of $685 million. Indiana. The government in Indiana expects to give out more than $4,125 checks to residents thanks to large state revenue, which grew 40%. The Department of Revenue says money started arriving in bank accounts in May and continued until mid-summer. You are eligible if you filed a resident tax return for 2020 and 2021. In August, the second rebate of $200 a taxpayer was approved. Maine. Residents in Maine got one of the highest relief payments in the country. Governor Janet Mills signed the supplemental budgets into law in April to send residents a one-time payment of $850 for inflation relief. The money comes from the state surplus of $729.3 million. To be eligible for the payment, residents must have filed a tax return by the end of October. Single filers will have to have had a federal adjusted gross income of less than $100,000 and $150,000 if filing as head of household, or $200,000 for couples filing jointly. Massachusetts. The Massachusetts Senate had approved a $250 stimulus check to taxpayers but ended up scrapping that plan. Instead, certain taxpayers will receive a refund for about 14% of their personal state income tax liability. Distribution of those checks was slated to begin on November 1st. Minnesota. The state of Minnesota passed legislation to give a one-time payment of $487.45 to its frontline workers. Payments have already been distributed to eligible residents of Minnesota. New Jersey. Residents in New Jersey with at least one dependent child and a tax balance of $1 or more will get a rebate of up to $500 on their 2020 taxes, known as the middle class rebate. Payments were issued as a check separate from tax returns. The state has also introduced the Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowners and Renters, or ANCHOR program, to provide both groups with some extra stimulus. Homeowners earning more than $150,000 a year will receive $1,500, while high earners between $150,000 and $250,000 will receive $1,000. Renters bringing home less than $150,000 could receive $450 if they meet the eligibility requirement. To receive the payment, you will have to apply through the state's tax division by December 30th. New Mexico. The state of New Mexico is bringing out financial relief in the form of a $750 stimulus to help with the rising cost of groceries and gas. 2 laws were passed in the state providing a rebate and relief payment. Depending on income, an eligible person will get 2 to 3 payments of $250. For families, the payments will be $500. Taxpayers should have received one of those payments either by direct deposit or check already. Another payment was to be made later this summer. New York. In September, New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced a $475 million plan to provide low-income New Yorkers with relief checks to help with inflation. About 1.75 million New Yorkers should have received an average of $270 checks by the end of October. Oregon. The Oregon Department of Revenue has issued one-time payments of $600 to eligible households, meaning a single person, couple, family that lives together. Eligible households qualified for Oregon Earned Income Tax Credit (EITC) on their 2020 tax filing and lived in Oregon for the second half of 2020. Pennsylvania. In September, Governor Tom Wolf signed new legislation into law offering a one-time bonus rebate for vulnerable residents. Older adults and those with disabilities who received the maximum $650 standard rebate will receive another one-time $455 rebate, and homeowners who received the standard $975 property tax rebate will receive another $682.5 more. Rhode Island. Residents of Rhode Island are getting a one-time stimulus check expected to arrive this fall. The stimulus is coming in the form of a child tax credit. Eligible households are getting $250 per child for a maximum of 3 children. Checks started going out in September. South Carolina. Towards the end of the year, taxpayers in South Carolina will be getting refund checks of up to $800. If you live in South Carolina, how much you will get depends on your tax liability. But to qualify for these checks, you will have to have filed your taxes for 2021. Virginia. Governor Glenn Youngkin signed the budget in June that will see income tax refunds of up to $250 for individuals and $500 for married couples, and eliminates the 1.5% state grocery tax. Payments started going out in September. So there you have it. I will keep you up to date on the channel. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care.